Here's the story of RaceCarRichie, who was bringing up a 99 Eclipse. There were some parts that were painted gold, just like the turbo. Here's the story of the 99 Mitsubishi. It was busy sitting in a storage unit. It had 4 wheels and ARP lugs, yet it was really slow. Till the one day when RaceCarRichie met this Eclipse, and he knew it was much more than a turd. That his car would somehow be fast. That's the way he became RaceCarRichie. 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 That's the way he became RaceCarRichie.
What's going on, guys? It's your boy RaceCarRichie. Hope you enjoyed that little Brady Bunch thing that I did. I was really bored and the camera's sliding. Okay, so anyway, part 3. You better sit down. You better watch this whole thing. You better like. You better subscribe, because I cannot take it anymore. You guys are awesome. By the way, Patreon, do it so I get the heck out of my storage unit and get something a little bit nicer. And speaking of something nicer, fresh cut. Did it myself. That's right. 2-way mirror. Great to have. All right. On to the show. All right. So, collecting the parts. Steering wheel was first. Don't ask me why. It just was. You know why? Because race car. So I got an NRG wheel and hub. I went ahead and took the airbag off because, you know, safety first, guys. Who needs an airbag? Yeah, that's what it looked like. I still have it in the car today. Next is Howard I-beam rods. Those are very expensive. Eagle crank, which I did not use because Eagle sucks, apparently. Walbro 450 pump. Sucks. Did not use. VRSF intercooler. Sold it, bought a new one, customized it. ARP studs. Did not use them. Went a different direction, actually. Torque converter? Maybe? I don't remember what's in that box. I'll show you later on. These are the parts laid out. ACO race bearings. I just didn't use the crank or anything else. Wiseco HD pistons. I used those. A tile wastegate I ended up chucking for something else. Crank again, useless. Basically a paperweight that I ended up selling because it's crap. This is the big Borg-Warner turbo that's currently in the car, just with a different hot side. That's it next to an Evo rim and tire, which I don't have anymore. Sold it. That's the turbo again. Guess what's next? You guessed it. The turbo. I polished it. What's next? Oh, radiator support. So this was an AFCO radiator that I was going to use. Did not end up using it. Went with a Honda one just because I wanted to go smaller. So this was a custom upper radiator support that I made for dsmtuners. Well, not for dsmtuners, but I made it for the car. And then these pictures was kind of just like a how-to kind of thing, because, you know, how to race car. Jeez. All right, so I cut out the rad support for the front mount intercooler, the radiators in there, and then these are the pictures with them in there. That's my awesome t-shirt and jeans, blue jeans because America. Fitment's great. That's my Supermoto, which I used to stunt on, don't have it anymore. Guess what? More radiator support. Come on. God, this is annoying. Bumper support. Bumper support. Yeah, I made that with a $100 welder. Worked great. Still on there. Look at that fit. Look at it. Look at it. It's tighter. That fit is tight. I don't even know. Ferreira valve guides, serpentine belt. That's the parts that was kind of building up in the back of my car. This is the start of the tear down. And then I also put in a cooler for the transmission, which I still do have. Yeah, that's the motor out. And then this is a cleaning tank that I built. So like a wash tank, I guess you can call it, so I can clean all the grease off of the engine block and all the parts and everything. Don't mind me, I'm just winging this because I'm awesome. That's the awesome block. Here's another picture of the awesome block. It's a 99 block. It's revised, so it's better than most generation Eclipses. This is the car up on a jack because why not? Most Eclipses always on a jack. This is a transmission. I was cleaning and painting it that day, so it's all taped up and it's pretty. Which it's not that color anymore because, you know, I change colors like I change underwear. Not that often, but I get it done. Then I started doing the rebuild. This is a trans slab kit that I was putting in, which is springs and all that other stuff. I had a nice little clean work area. The next picture, I believe, is it all taken apart and everything. Then we got some more goodies. The good stuff is, I believe it's going to be a part 4, but head gasket, ARP studs, did not use. This is an oil pump that I did prime it with grease, which you're supposed to do. I did use the oil pump. I did not use this S90 throttle body. This was Kigley upgraded 3rd gear, flex plate bolts, and an SFI approved flex plate. This is more transmission stuff. This was the seat I was going to use, but I took it out for a Kiggery seat. Sunroof. Took out the sunroof, which, by the way, weighs like 80 freaking pounds. And I put Lexan in there. We're going to get to that in a second. Back windows I took out, and I used Lexan. Here's the sheet. Got it from Home Depot. It's like 80 bucks, maybe 100 bucks for the sheet. And the reason it's all written out like this, because, again, I made a how-to for dsmtuners. My boys, they help me with everything. I help them with everything I possibly can. Because why not? Race car. Show support. Patreon. Do it. No more of these shenanigans. Sketch it with Sharpie. Just like my memoir. Yeah, this is just how I was describing of how I painted, you know, because painting is so hard for you small-brained people. Spray paint. It's spray paint. Literally spray paint. And I still screwed it up. Unbelievable. No, it actually came out pretty good. Because, you know, I use Plasti Dip. Because we can't use spray paint because we don't know how to. What else we got? So this is the sunroof. I built L brackets for it out of aluminum, riveted it on. Then I put a piece of Lexan on, riveted to that with some 3M sealant, I believe it is. So you can see, and I painted it so it's pretty. It's race car stuff. Gotta do the race car stuff. ARP studs in my front hubs. I still have to do the back ones. Carbon doors, which I got from Canada. Oh, Canada. Great bacon. Cut out the rear bumper thing because race car. Cut out the spare tire well because I was getting ready for my fuel cell, which we'll eventually show you. Started gutting the car. I'm telling you, this is the video where the car just starts going downhill and everything becomes race car. Dashboard's out. Then I got my roll cage, which is pre-bent but not pre-cut. I had to cut it. I had to notch it. I had to tack weld it in place because it needs to be TIG welded because it is chromoly. So chromoly has to be TIG welded to reach NHRA standards. So that's what I did. So right now I'm just laying it out in the car. I started building the floor. I don't know. I welded metal to the floor to put the roll cage on. Yeah, so I started welding the plates to the floor, which I think is 1/4-inch steel or something like that, 3/16. I don't know. But I tack welded it in place, cut it up, notched it. These are the crossbars. It's an 8-point roll cage, I believe, or 10-point, 8-point. I think it's a 10-point roll cage, and it's good for 8.5 seconds. Then I painted the engine bay because, you know, I'm a professional painter. Yes, I used clear coat with a hardener. I used real clear. This is the roll cage, basically all tack welded in place. My brain just left the building for a second. Okay, so then there was one bar that I really didn't know how to do, so I left that to the shop. This is it being delivered to the roll cage shop to finalize the welds and make sure the roll cage was nice and straight and level. These are some pictures of it all done. And I still have to finish painting it, only 5 years later with a little bit of rust. Like your wiener, really small. Passenger seat. Took out the original floor brackets by taking out the... God, my head is so far up my butt tonight. Took out the original tack welds, spot welds. Took those out. My buddy Matt helped me bend the metal and get these bars across. That's my buddy Matt. He's a big dude. He's a big kid. He's like 6 and change, like 250 pounds of all man. This is the non-ABS proportioning valve for the rear and front brakes. That's a 3rd generation brake booster because it's bigger, so it supplies more brake. That's the old one that I took out. The new one's obviously the one that looks really clean. This is a 3rd generation brake master because it's got a bigger plunger in it, better brakes. That's it all painted up because I got it from a junkyard and then just rebuilt it. This is the floor. No, this is when I started mocking up for the seat just to see where the rails needed to go for the front rail. I actually bolted it up first and then tack welded it in place to make sure. Put some self-etching primer down, which that was the only side I used self-etching primer for, and then just spray painted some dollar store spray paint on it, and it looked great. That seat I still have, which, by the way, I tried selling them. I tried selling those seats to some kid in California, and I'm in New York, and I only wanted $250 for both the seats. $1,200 for shipping. You know what I did? I told UPS to go stick the box up their butt, and then I told the kid, unless you want to pay $1,200 for shipping, you're not getting the seats, and he said no thanks. So they're still for sale, pick up only. If you can't pick them up, I don't want to sell them to you. Hit me up. DM me on the gram. This is part 3. Part 4, we're going to get more into the motor stuff. We're going to get more into the bolt-ons. We're going to keep going with this journey. My phone is still sitting on a Tostitos can, and I crap you not, Tostitos. That's literally what my phone's been sitting on. You guys are awesome. Subscribe, like, comment. The phone is falling. Subscribe to my Patreon. You guys are the best. Don't ever forget to show some love. Don't go. Bye. 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 There it goes. Bye.